Essiva, this is Geoblazeable from GamerFusion.com, and what is going on, guys? Today I'm joined by Vital X Hunter. I am also joined by Sasuke. Okay, I see your moves. See you guys got some moves. And today we are going to be talking in Destiny chat. We are going to be talking about the DLC and how long should the expansion or the wait for a DLC should be. So to start it off, let me give you guys a little bit of background of the way usually games are, DLCs are broken. So you usually have the game that comes out, you have your 4 DLCs that come out every 3 months, and then you have the new game that comes out, or in which case, you just pretty much the game just continues putting stuff after the 4 DLCs comes out. Now, these 4 DLCs are spaced between every 3 months. So if you get a game in November, and then you have December, January, and early February, then the DLC comes out, and so forth every 3 months. Now, with Destiny, we did have this year 1. If you guys remember, we had Destiny 1. We had the DLC that came out, The Dark Below. Then we had another one. Then we had another 3 months. And then we had the other DLC. And then we had the Taken King. And ever since there, the DLC has not been spaced with every 3 months. So today's conversation is how much spacing should a DLC have in Destiny? Especially since I know they don't want to say it's an MMO, but it kind of sort of is. So, Vital, what do you think? What do you think would be a good time? And Sasuke, what do you think would be a good time for spacing when it comes to DLC in Destiny?
Well, I have 2 different opinions about this. One, if they want to keep people in the community and staying on Destiny, I think going back to the original every 3 months, I honestly think that worked really well. I mean, the DLC they put out might not have been that great, but it definitely kept people interested since it wasn't that long of a wait till the next one. And it just kept getting people prepared for the next one. But if we're talking about having a good DLC, one that's actually great, then it might be a little bit longer than 3 months.
Okay, and
probably, honestly, 6 months.
And Sasuke?
I would have to agree with Vital.
You agree? Okay, now
the span time should be 3 months.
All right, so but on the reference point that Vital makes, that he says that if it's a good DLC, it should be 6 months. So would you consider the Taken King a good DLC?
I consider Taken King a great DLC, not just a good DLC.
Okay, great DLC. But this is the thing I have with the Taken King. So I know the Dark Below, everybody gives it a gripe that it's not good, that it sucks. That wasn't really good. But then you have the Taken King. But if you notice the time period the Taken King lasts us, I mean, you're talking about maybe a month and a half. And that's about it. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, I wouldn't say quit Destiny, but just don't come to Destiny as often. Because they're pretty much, they pretty much did everything in the game already. So they're like, okay, well, let's move on to a different game. And if it's an expansion of every 6 months, then you think people will will they stay interested in every 6 months?
Definitely not. I completely agree with you, though, with lasting 6 months. Taken King was a great DLC compared to the first 2, House of Wolves and Crota. But at the same time, it didn't last that long. Maybe, I would say at minimum 2 months is probably the most it kept people interested until they got the necessary gear. And that 2 months also has to do with how they took a month to release hard mode, and then another month to release challenge mode.
Yep.
That I brought some people back, but before even that, people had already started leaving because it just got really repetitive and boring. But then, if you think about us and the videos that we have done, if you go back to Crota, honestly, I think Crota was probably the best DLC that we enjoyed the most.
We had a lot of fun with Crota. I'm not going to lie. We made our own challenge modes.
I mean, everyone hates Crota Raid. Everyone dislikes it. I honestly dislike it. But at the same time, there was so much more you could do with that raid than you can do with this new raid. All the different challenge modes we did, like green weapons, only grenades and stuff, that was possible in the other raid because it wasn't that good. But it also made it interesting that we could do all those different challenges compared to this new raid, which honestly you can't really do any of that. You can attempt it, but I mean, it's not gonna be as fun.
Yeah. What do you think, Sasuke? Do you consider the Taken King a good DLC? And Would you like to see that type of DLC every 3 months instead of what we have now? Because right now the way they're doing it is they're giving us like little events. Like we had, the Sparrow Racing. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the Sparrow Racing. I thought that was really fun. And then but the
new event that's coming up.
Yeah, and the new event that's coming up, the Crimson Doubles. But I don't think that's enough to actually sustain the game through the dry spells of the game that we're currently having.
Yeah. But to be honest, dude, I believe that they should just keep with the 3 months instead of these events. Because look, Destiny's dying out, and everyone's like a bunch of people are just leaving the game and not playing it. And to be honest, the events are fun, but you're not gonna you want to keep on playing.
All right, Insanity. Insanity, you there?
3 months.
Okay, well, Insanity's not here, but I have one other thing to add about the event thing. Regarding what Sasuke said about SRL, I mean, it was fun. Yes, I totally agree with you guys. It was a lot of fun, but they didn't put a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
You gave a couple new Sparrows, 2 racing maps, and that was it. Yeah, it was fun, but I mean, it was very repetitive, and we didn't really get to do much.
It really
I would
didn't.
hardly consider that at all any sort of DLC.
I don't think it lasted as long as they thought. They gave it the 3 weeks. I don't think they lasted 3 weeks for a lot of people. A lot of people just quit after the first week. After they got everything, they just went ahead and quit. Insanity, what we're talking about right now is how fast should DLCs come out for Destiny. That's what the conversation we're having at the current moment. Anything you want to chime in there?
Honestly, what I had to say, I kind of hate what they're doing right now in year 2. Like, it's not really DLC. It's just updates. Like, we're still doing the same thing that we have in the Taken King. Like, the same content. There's the only content really that they added was the SRL, and it's gone now. Year 1, I like that they had like those little 3-month periods, 4 months maybe, I think. Where like DLC would come out and like actual DLC like raids, Prison of Elders, Crucible maps, story missions. But right now, all we're getting is just little stuff like aesthetic changes to the tower, SRL basically. Yeah, just 2 maps. It's not that much.
Yeah.
Like Taken King was good, but it's not good enough to last all this time.
Yeah. Now here's a question I have for you guys, which is pretty much the question, I guess, from the back-end standpoint. They're asking themselves, all these little events are based for the microtransactions, right? You have, so people could buy the Sparrow Racings because technically, in a sense, they want to give away like free DLC. So basically, if there's going to be a raid, they want it to be free. And if there's going to be some type of like big expansion pack, they want it to free, for it to be free. My question I have for you guys, and I have for the people who are watching this video in the community, is: would you rather get rid of the microtransactions, or even have the microtransactions at the current moment? Just include them, like have these little events just for microtransactions, and still pay for the DLC, or would you rather have the context of what they're trying to do, which is push out a lot of events, have a lot of people buy stuff, and then give you out a free DLC? Would you rather still pay like the $20 for a DLC every 3 months, or would you rather have it the way they have it? They're trying to structure it now.
I'd probably be happy with just going back to DLC, honestly, and just paying for it. Because I know what they're trying to do with microtransactions. They do these small little events every once in a while. They get money from it. And then from that, they can make a future DLC free. But that future DLC, as we can see now, still hasn't come out after 4 months into Destiny Year 2. And not just that, the small little events they do, I mean, they barely do them. So if they're trying to get enough money to be able to make free DLC, why aren't they doing more events?
How often do you think an event should be, though? That's the question we're going to go after that one. But Sasuke, you want to chime in on that? Would you rather go back to paying? Or would you rather have it the way
I would rather pay.
You rather pay?
I would rather pay $20 and have it lasts for more than like 1 month or 2 months than just playing for 3 weeks and getting bored out of it.
How about you, Insanity? Would you rather go back to paying, or would you rather keep the events?
I honestly, the events are nice and all, but I feel like I just don't really, I don't find them that enjoyable. Like, I feel like they should just take out the events and go back to the DLCs. Like they should save their time and resources and work on DLCs instead of events, because events you can only enjoy them for a certain amount of time. But DLCs, you actually get gear, you level up, weapons, story, all that good stuff.
One of my biggest, I would say, gripes that I have at the current moment is that, when they do their weekly update and stuff, they actually include Trials of Osiris and the Iron Banner as part of events. And to me personally, I don't consider those events. I don't know about you guys, but it's just like in year one, those were things that pretty much just happened. It's like you knew every month you would have Iron Banner, and then you had Trials. And right now they're kind of saying, okay, yeah, we're giving out events, but every month you have Iron Banner as an event. I personally don't consider that an event. I don't know about you guys. I just consider that just like a like a game mode, that's available every month.
Okay, how about this? How many months has challenge mode been out? 3 months?
Challenge mode? Oh, challenge mode's been out for like
a
month and a half, about a month and a half, or 2 months.
About 2 months.
About 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
So after 2 months of being able to claim a lot of 320 gear, what makes Trials of Osiris relevant anymore? The only 320 possibility you have is a primary. There's no reason to do Trials anymore. You're not going to get anything you actually need. You pretty much have what you need from challenge mode in the raid. And then you have Iron Banner. You have a chance of getting a 320 Ghost. But I mean, you probably already have gotten it in the raid. If you haven't, then you would probably do Iron Banner. But I mean, those two things that they consider events aren't really relevant anymore. There's no reason to do them unless you just like PvP and Destiny, which a lot of people honestly don't.
I think that would be a different that's like a different topic of how relevant Trials is and stuff like that, in the sense of if it's worth you actually grinding them out. I just think that the way they're capsizing them, consider them as events, just doesn't go with the subject. But to end this little podcast, or this little chat that we're having, what would make you guys? Because you know how they're saying there's a new DLC that's coming out that's going to be bigger than the Taken King. What would that DLC have to be included for you guys to get super hyped about it? If it's one thing you could name, if it's one thing you could name that you say, okay, you know what? Oh, dude, I'm so hyped. I can't wait. Like, what would it have to be? Would it have to be a new character, a new subclass, like 2 raids, or like what would it have to be for you guys to get really excited and be like, okay, it was worth that long of a wait?
To be honest, a raid and a new subclass, or just a new subclass.
A new subclass for each character?
Okay.
Yeah. I would say
that.
But mostly a raid too, dude.
Raid, alright.
Go ahead, Final.
I have 2 things. One, either 2 raids, because if they're just going to give us this next DLC, and they're going to wait like as long as they wait for this one, it's not going to work out. If it's only 1 raid and like a little bit of story, in my opinion, it won't work out. So either 2 new raids to be able to actually keep us occupied for that long, or a new raid and a new character.
New raid and a new character, okay.
I think a lot of people would start grinding on a brand new character if the new character is actually good.
Insanity?
Okay, well, what really got me into like the Taken King was like they were adding a story. Everybody like was begging for the story, and that's actually what got me into Taken King. That and the raid. So I kind of want them to do like they did with Taken King, have like a really good story, and like having a big, like amazing raid like King's Fall to go with that story. Like, that's honestly why Taken King was really fun. Because the raid, it went along with the story.
But Insanity, you also have to consider this. Yes, the Taken King had all that, and it was a lot of fun to begin with. But it didn't last that long.
It's only like
if they're gonna make some amazing raid after waiting that long, what would you like to? It's like there's gotta be something more, I would think, to it to be able to last longer. In my opinion, sorry.
Well, yeah, obviously, like if they're taking this much time. Like, I hope they put a lot of effort into it. And, like, I guess 2 raids would be nice.
Yeah,
but
for me
a lot
personally,
of
this is the thing.
strikes,
This is the way I
like,
see it.
crystal maps,
This is
way
the way
more
I
story
see
than
it. I see
Titanfall.
it like we have Destiny, right? So right now we're on the 4th month of waiting for a DLC. I personally don't expect a DLC until March. That's when I think they're gonna launch a DLC, just because they believe. This is just my personal point of view. Don't take this like to the heart. We have the Division coming out. I know they believe that that's going to take a lot of their fan base, so I believe a DLC will drop either before the Division or sometime at the same time that the Division is going to get released. That's just my personal point of view. Now, you have March, so that's 5 months out. So then after March, you have March, April, May, June. Around June, if there was a Destiny 2 that's coming out, which there's a bunch of rumors that it's not, and there's nothing official at the current moment, but once June hits, that's pretty much marketing for the next game, for like Destiny 2 or like a big expansion. So we're not expecting another DLC until I would say sometime like around September or something around August, something around there. So whatever lands on March has to be enough content to last you past the summertime. So I think it has to be a very, very heavy DLC for it to work out. And I really wish, just to end this chat, I really wish we would go back to the 3-month thing, and I wouldn't mind paying the $20, just as long as we have relative content, so we're not just doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, because it does become monotonous at the same time when you're just doing the same thing over. And like Vito pointed out, sometimes the rewards are not appealing to everybody that already has everything. I know they say not everybody has everything already. There's still a lot of big people that still, like a majority of people, don't have everything already because they can't grind the game as much as everybody else does, or as much as the minority does. But I think it still doesn't keep the game relevant at the current moment. So I really wish, for closing this podcast, I really wish we would go back to the 3-month thing, or if we're gonna stay on this, where we're getting a kind of like events happening. Events should be happening every month. I think if you're going to be doing the event thing, events should be happening every month, and the DLC has to be predominant, where it's not going to last 1 month or 2 months. So at least something where we could keep going for 3 months. So any closing comments you guys would like to say before we end the podcast?
Step on it, Bungie.
All right. Okay.
Everybody's begging for DLC. Like, you just go on YouTube and literally every Destiny video right now is, when are they making the next DLC? When's the next DLC coming?
I mean, because we're not going to lie, we love the game. The game is fun, but we just want more. We just want more of the game, man. I just want more.
I do have one last question for people that are going to watch this video.
Mm-hmm.
To anyone watching this video, if you have spent money on the past small events that Bungie has done, or including emotes, stuff like that, have you spent enough money to be equal to a $20 DLC, or have you spent even more than that for just a small event? I'm just curious about that, because I feel like a lot of people have actually spent more money than it would cost just to buy a $20 DLC with the 3-month thing they did first year.
Actually, at that point that you have, I think a lot more people have spent more than $20 on packs than the DLC.
I feel like we're getting ripped off.
Where's that zombie dance? It's worth
Yes,
like
we are.
$9 or $10.
I think Sasuke spent like $30
Yeah,
or
that zombie
something.
dance was like...
Oh, really? And right off at the stream is about to end, I get booted to orbit. Way to go, Destiny. Way to go. High five. All right, fellas, thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next Destiny chat. I hope everybody has a wonderful time. And don't forget, guys, for all things Destiny, head over to GamerFusion.com, where we empower your game.